Welcome to another episode of Growing It. I'm very excited to be here today with Colleen at Cruze Farm on location. She's got a fascinating story to tell, and I hope we do it justice. So Colleen, tell us about growing up on the farm as a little girl, what you remember.
Well, I grew up on a dairy farm in East Knoxville, and my parents always milked cows and bottled milk. And from a very young age, I spent almost every day at the farmer's market, which is no longer, it was the Knox County Farmer's Market, and we sold milk, and that's when we first started selling ice cream too.
So I see, that's something I didn't know. You started selling ice cream when you were little, but y'all stopped that at some point, right?
Yeah, my parents learned to make ice cream from an Amish family, and it was a hit. My dad still tells the story about scooping 1,000 cones the first day. He sold them like $1 a piece with 3 big scoops. They were so big that the market manager came and told him to make them smaller because there was ice cream everywhere.
So, and that, you said that was over where Target is now, right? In East Town.
Yeah.
And then, but you guys were one of the early adopters downtown when the farmer's market came years later, right?
Yeah, when I was in college, it was early 2000s. I just loaded up my Jeep and took some milk downtown to try to sell. And it was hard to sell milk on a hot summer day, so I ended up giving it away.
Tried giving little samples and
I tried to give milk shots. I thought that would be a fun way to make people want to try milk. It worked a little bit.
Did you have other flavors at that point?
We just had whole milk and buttermilk.
Okay. And so in college was when you really started to get the ideas of what this has become, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, in college, I saw an opportunity. Customers were reaching out to us. They wanted to find a local dairy farm. And I was excited to help my parents grow their business. So.
And you said you had to do some convincing with your dad, right?
I think so, a little bit, and it was justified. I was young and I had dreams, but I think he was a little worried I wouldn't be able to hang in there and really work hard at the farm. So I tried to show him that I could.
And you did some competition at UT, or what was that?
My senior year, I entered the Graves Business Plan competition, and I presented a business plan where I would call my ice cream Cruze Farm Girl. I would sell pints, and I would buy the milk from my dad, and I won $5,000.
Oh.
And I went back to my dad, and I told him, and he was really happy for me, and I think he also really saw that I was serious about the business. And
so what were some of those early steps? I convinced Dad and won the business plan. What was next?
Well, so after college, I just started working with him every day, trying to learn everything from him. He taught me how to make buttermilk. That was really hard. Actually, the first time I made buttermilk on my own, I ended up ruining 500 gallons.
500 gallons.
He cried, and I cried, and he let me try it again the next week, which I honestly didn't think he would. But he said, "You know what? Try it again. I think you know now." And we had a milk surplus. So my parents were milking the cows, producing so much milk, but we didn't have stores for all that milk.
To sell it to?
To sell it to. So that was my job, was to go out and find people who wanted to buy our milk.
And so, like we were talking before we did this, some of those early customers weren't grocery stores, and what I would have kind of traditionally thought. Who were some of those?
Like mom and pop businesses, local coffee shops, local bakeries, local grocery stores. They were the people that first said, "Yes, we want your milk." It worked for them because they were so small, they weren't able to get milk from a larger company. They couldn't meet the minimum. So we were able to provide milk, and I'm really thankful for all those business relationships, and we still are selling milk to most of them today.
It's such a neat story. You were also saying when your desire was to get in it, you said it seemed like the culture and everything was kind of aligning. Buying local was becoming a thing, and so you went in and you had people really looking for your product, which is neat. So then you were selling milk, and you got some grocery stores that started coming to town, like Whole Foods, right?
Whole Foods, Earth Fare, yeah.
When did you kind of start doing ice cream stuff?
Well, ice cream's always been my favorite product.
Okay. Me too.
I love ice cream, and I think I love selling ice cream. I realized at the farmer's market how much fun it was to sell ice cream. It made kids happy and adults happy. It was a happy food for everyone. And I was pregnant with my second child, and I thought, I'm never going to open an ice cream shop. I just don't see it happening. And I was like, I'm going to find somewhere to sell ice cream now. It was just like now or never.
Like,
so
I'm going to do this.
I'm going to do it now and I found a space for rent on Union Avenue downtown, and they gave me 10 weeks to sell ice cream. So I moved in and I started selling ice cream. I learned so much. I learned how to really run a business, but I still learn more even after that shop. But also I realized how much people love ice cream. Knoxville showed up. I was shocked the first day when people came. I didn't think anyone would come.
And for 10 weeks, you just
10
tried
weeks.
it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that year or couple months was a success, right? And then what was the next step?
I think it was a success.
Yeah, I remember it. It was a success, yeah.
But I didn't really keep up with the numbers that well the first year, so I
learned all that.
I know. I couldn't tell you how successful it was, but in my eyes, I was like, it was successful. It was fun, for sure. And so I wanted to do it again.
Sure. And something you mentioned a couple of times as we've talked off camera, you enjoyed listening to the feedback from the people, right?
I've always enjoyed listening to feedback from customers. They've helped me grow the business because they've told me what they want and what they'll buy, and I appreciate that.
And so then you provide.
I try.
Right?
I try to
Yeah,
provide what they
great.
want.
Okay, talk about, because definitely some of the Cruze Farm, we would be so sad if you didn't open this store, but the Cruze Farm magic is the colors and the marketing and the good product. But when did all those ideas kind of start coming?
I guess the look of what we do is just the fun part for me. I started it back when I was trying to take the business over from my dad and learning everything. The fun for me was like posting on social media and taking pictures of the cows, and then of course I wanted a cute uniform to wear to market.
Of course,
and
right?
I did,
Yeah.
and so I had some girlfriends who were helping me, and I bought us all gingham dresses, and we went to market, and everyone wanted to buy our gingham dresses, not our milk, but the gingham dresses.
The dresses.
So I thought, okay, this works, and we've kept it up. And the gingham dress is also like in honor of my grandma, who always milked the cows in a dress, and my mom always wore aprons. And I just wanted to honor the women in our family who worked hard to really get me where I am. I don't think I could have opened this business without they paved the way for me. My mom especially has worked so hard. She's not a farmer. She didn't grow up on a farm, but she stuck it out in some really hard years with my dad on the farm alone. So a lot of this stuff we do is just to pay honor to our family and our history. So
I think it works. It's a great story. Your dad had a dream, always wanted to be a farmer, a dairy farmer, right?
He's a fourth generation dairy farmer. He wanted to bottle his own milk. He wanted to put his name on the bottle. And
that is something that's so interesting, because that is not the norm anymore. You know, dairy farmers sell to big companies who put their label on the bottle.
Exactly.
And he stuck that out through, I'm sure, the 90s and early 2000s when that was not easy. And now, again, the trends have kind of come back in his favor and your favor.
Definitely, yeah.
It's neat that he kept the dream alive, right?
Well, and he couldn't have done it without my mom. He told my mom what his dream was, and she said, "What's stopping you?" And he was almost 40 years old, and he really didn't think that he would ever be able to bottle his own milk, because he had a lot of people around him telling him not to, like his family and friends. And my mom said, "Let's do it." So they did it together, and it wasn't easy. And they actually quit selling milk a couple times just because it was almost impossible to sell.
Right.
And but they kept on.
So something that we try to give people who watch these a real picture of what it's like to start businesses. What were some of the really hard? So we talked about some of the fun things. What were some of the really hard things that I didn't think that this would be this hard?
Well, I think when you want to learn how to open a business, it's hard to know where to go to get all the information. So for me, I didn't know if I was legally, doing everything right, but I found people to help. I just think there's just not a manual though that tells you how to do it all. So you learn from experience, and I would say for the most part though, it hasn't been that hard. We have this goal and this dream of like running a business, but really just providing quality products, quality milk and ice cream to our customers, along with a smile and good customer service. And that's our dream that we want to stick with forever. So.
And so tell us about the transition, because your dad never really had a lot of employees, and you had to kind of convince him, I think, to grow this, we may need to.
Yeah.
And how did that kind of happen over time?
Yeah, he doesn't love managing people, and I think I realized I did. I love being around a lot of people, and I love working as a team. And he was open to me having some friends come and help, and I just kept bringing more people, really, just more and more and more. And he really adjusted so well, and I really appreciate him letting us come into his business that he built by himself with my mom. It's very personal to them. Family businesses are very personal, and I appreciate them letting me try to carry it on. So.
Oh, that's great. So tell me, as you're starting to gain employees, how that went down.
Well, my first employees were my best friends. They were my girlfriends. They came and helped me at the farmer's market. They're the ones who I got matching gingham dresses for. And well, what happened after that was at the market, people would see us and girls would come up and say, I want to work for y'all. They thought it was the place girls worked, which is kind of funny because dairy farms typically are it's a male industry. And so I said, all right, come on over to the farm, check it out, see what you think. And some of them loved it. Some of them were very shocked, like, wow, this is hard work, and it's dirty and it's hot, and I think I'll just meet you at the market.
Sure.
But yeah, so it just kind of like became a thing where it was like, girls work here, this is our dress, and they loved it. It's fun. It's we have male and female employees both, but we have a lot of females.
And that just happened organically.
And it just happened organically.
Because they thought it was fun. I want to work there. I think of the early days of like, they talk about McDonald's, like it just was like the place young kids wanted to work, kind of like that. So tell some of the neat history of the Asbury Road. That was your first like permanent location, and your dad when he was a kid. So.
Yeah, so my dad grew up on Asbury Road milking cows. That's where my grandparents dairied. And this old house was for sale in 2017, and I thought it was meant to be. We bought it, we opened an ice cream shop, and we brought the family business back to where it started on Asbury Road.
Because all that used to be farm, right?
It used to all be farmland. Right. It's now an industrial park. My dad would take me there as a kid, and he would cry and say, this is where I milked cows, and this is where we lived. The house is torn down now, but because of that, he actually put a conservation easement on our farm, because he was determined to keep our farm a farm forever.
Wow. And
so it can never be developed. Doesn't matter who wants to farm, but it's there for whatever generation wants to keep it going. So.
Wow. Well, so you and your husband are a team in this, right? So tell when you met him and how he got involved and what he does. And...
Yes. Yeah, I met my husband at the bistro on Gay Street. I tried to sell him milk in the kitchen while he was cooking, and I convinced him not to go to law school, and he started helping me pretty early on in the food truck. He was a cook, so he would fry the bacon and the sausage. I'd make the biscuits, and I thought he would like farming. I never could have guessed he loves it as much as he does.
Really?
He loves cows. He loves everything about dairy farming. He loves the challenge of something different every day. So he's running the farm right now, and he's also, the one who develops the recipes for the ice cream.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So we have 2 kids, and that's been really fun raising them on the farm, and hoping that one day they might take interest in the business. So.
Yeah. Well, so you've got 2 locations now. We did the
Yes.
pop-up shops before, the pizza shop at Asbury. Where do you see the Cruze Farm brand going in the next, 5-10 years?
So I guess my goal for 5 or 10 years would be that we're doing exactly what we're doing now. Our motto is to work hard and love harder. And if we can just continue what we're doing, we will be doing exactly what I want.
That's great. That's great. Colleen, thanks for having us out today.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed hearing your story and learning about your family and the business. And for people who've been watching, don't forget to follow Colleen at
Cruze Farm Girl.
Cruze Farm Girl. That's on Instagram. Bring your families downtown or to Asbury Road, get some ice cream. It's not just a summer thing. And hopefully maybe we can try some after this. And thank you for watching Growin' It.